Okay, so it's 9:07 a.m. on the 18th of November, and I'm doing a video to um, let Talia kind of go over the clarity that I've received over this whole situation since the agony began. So I was just talking on Twitter about how Russell Brand, even though he is the eternal best friend of Jesus and of the Christ in all of my incarnations, not just the Jesus incarnation, during this lifetime he agreed to not know Jesus and not know who the Christ was um, in order that I be the one to save his soul rather than being saved by Jesus Christ. That's very humbling, and I mean, it's really hard for me to get my head around that, because of course he doesn't know me in this lifetime. He hasn't met me, hasn't read my materials, obviously hasn't encountered me at all, as is evidenced by his behavior, and thus the decision that he made to not know Jesus was, of course, at a soul level, and it's a testimony to how much his soul loves mine, the aspect of Christ that he has been all this time, loves the aspect of Christ that I have been all this time. And he agreed to suffer a lifetime of not knowing Jesus, not knowing Christ, not being saved. I mean, he's loved Jesus and he has worked for Christ, excuse me, Christ and love his whole life, and yet he agreed to not know who Jesus really was and what he came for, and to not be saved by Jesus. I'm going to open this root beer, this Hansen's natural root beer, because this is my breakfast. My digestive system is crazy, and I am consuming more sugar than I would ever choose to consume. And yeah, so I'm gonna have some breakfast. As I've explained on Twitter, as it was explained to me, my soul travels interdimensionally. It is actually constantly flickering in and out of different dimensions, and so it experiences extreme blood sugar fluctuations due to that, and so I have strange sudden sugar cravings that I have to obey, and often I don't even want actual food. I think about healthy foods and I just can't. I just can't do it, and so I can't fight it. I'll be like, oh, how about some juice? No. How about some vegetables? No. How about some fruit? No. And the only thing that my body wants is some sugar. It's and I'm gaining weight. I'm gaining puff. I talked about the puff before. I've gained weight. I've been a yo-yo dieter my whole life, and I've never been able to lose weight. Well, I've been able to lose weight. I just haven't been able to keep it off. And so my whole life I've been overweight since I was an adolescent. I wasn't overweight as a child. I was actually thin, overly thin. Just never could make anybody happy. Yeah, as a child, overly thin, and then when adolescence hit, I started gaining the weight, and then once I started gaining it, I had a weight problem my whole life, and I went up and down and up and down. Anyway, I know about weight gain, and this isn't weight gain. What it feels like is I'm a bread loaf rising. It's puffy. It's very soft weight. It's it's doughy. It's like bread dough that's rising. It's very strange, and I don't like it. I don't like getting puffy. Um, and you know, and then I'm eating this crap all the time, and so I'm like, well, couldn't we eat healthy so that my body? And it's like, no, your body's supposed to be like this, and you have to eat this. So it's not up to me, and it's another example of strange obedience. You know, you don't expect when you give your life to Christ for one of the orders that you have to follow to be eat nothing but carbohydrates and sugar, lots of sugar. You don't expect that to be amongst your marching orders, but that's part of mine. Uh, yeah, I've moved on to tea towels. Handkerchiefs are not big enough for me, not absorbent enough for me. Okay, so yeah, so Russell Brand agreed to fall because he didn't know Jesus. I didn't know Jesus either. I spent my whole life not knowing who Jesus was, even though I believed in God and I obeyed God and I followed the will of God, lived under the grace of God since my spiritual awakening in 2001. I didn't know Jesus. And until I saw the Messiah Complex, I was watching that show, you know, after Talia said, go get him, he's yours. So I was watching all of his work, and I was watching Messiah Complex, and, you know, Russell put the 4 images up there: Jesus, Malcolm X, Che Guevara, and Gandhi. And then he was talking about them, and as he was talking about them, Talia was talking to me, and Talia was saying, this is how they're different. If you look at all 3 of the others, they've all done really nasty human shit. And then she not only based it on what Russell was saying, but she led me right to the clips that showed what kind of nasty shit they did. Gandhi was a homophobe because he was secretly queer, and his twin flame was a man, and he wasn't able to be with him, and instead he had a wife, whom he didn't love, and she's the one that he let die. So, yeah, and so Talia spoke to me and said, yeah, these 3 are human, and Jesus Christ was not. He didn't make any mistakes. He never did anything evil. He never succumbed to temptation. He was never homophobic. He was never misogynistic. He was never hateful toward anyone at any time. And so that's when I began to understand who Jesus Christ really was. And then what his job was to walk the way that a divine human needs to walk in order to reconnect with their divinity. So, how long does Russell need to demonstrate fallen humanity for all of us? Because his fall has taught me, you know, every moment of his fall has led to more clarity about how humans fall, you know, and what happens to them. Because it's not that you get tempted into doing something overtly evil. You know, it's not like, ooh, why don't you go do something evil? The devil on your shoulder doesn't say, go hurt people. Mm-mm. The devil on your shoulder says, go play Candy Crush and let the world die. Because you can't do anything anyway. You're powerless. You're small. Your choices don't matter. You know, look how hopeless it is. Let's just go play Candy Crush. That's what the devil does, to tempt you into destroying the world. He tempts you into doing nothing. He tempts you into doing pointless, mindless distractions that keep you from fulfilling your purpose. And in Russell's case, he's keeping him hating on the things that he doesn't like, which keeps him from promoting the things that he does like. And it just keeps him unhappy, and it keeps all the people around him focused on their unhappiness, and it just puts more pain into the world. But he thinks he's doing good because he thinks he's waking up humanity. And he's putting it in their faces how bad things are. We've already talked about that. Problem is that he's waking them up, but he's not telling them what to do once they wake up. So it's like, hey, get your head out of your ass. And it's like, and then what? And then what, Russell? when you get them to pull their heads out of their ass by telling them how bad it is, exactly what are they supposed to do at that point, now that their head is fully out of their ass? You have no answers for them. And so you've been tricked into doing this instead of into doing what will actually help people. And of course lead to your own, not just happiness, honey, your heaven. The heaven you've wanted your whole life. So you're also demonstrating for us humans that completely ignore God while God is screaming at them, trying to get them to go down the right path that would lead them to their heaven. And they're just completely, you humans are just completely oblivious, and you go your own way. Oh no, this is right. This is what we should be doing. This is it. Oh, I'm so angry. This has got to be right. This has got to be right. This makes me so angry. I need to tell everyone how angry it makes me. No, that's not your purpose, Russell. You point out what's wrong, and then you tell them where to go instead. And you skipped the second part because you don't have the what to do instead. You don't have the answers. But you haven't shut up. You shut up for a while, and you were supposed to listen to God, and then of course you didn't, and you were. I understand why, because you were hit with pain, probably the worst pain of your life, just like I was. But you didn't choose. You didn't turn to Christ in your pain, just as Shannon didn't turn to Christ in her pain. She didn't turn to God, and you didn't turn to God. And you just sank lower and lower and lower until now you think that your job is to be angry and to spit all of this vitriol into a world that already has enough. Your video doesn't come up in the sidebar anymore. Now videos come up that are all about everyone else's shit fits they're throwing over the election. Stupid human tricks. And so, yeah, that's what humans do. You think you go off all half-cocked and angry and sad and scared. He's scared. Of course he's scared. Again, anyone who doesn't know me and doesn't know this reality has been created, has been set up for us by God, by Talia, our benevolent creator, would have to fall into total hopelessness. There is nothing else. Because it's not in the New Age philosophies. I mean, all of their metaphysical stuff is all about ascension. And I don't think he knows about that either, so he doesn't have that piece. You know, I have that piece to hold on to too, because ever since my awakening in 2001, I've worked for the ascension of humanity, and I've believed in the ascension of humanity, and I've studied the ascension of humanity. I mean, as obsessed as I am with this part of the mission, I was obsessed with that part of the mission, and I would stay up for days at a time. You know, when I was dealing with my mania. That would be 2 or 3 days of just studying the ascension, studying metaphysics, day and night, full time, and then some and then some. I mean, my whole life was about it. My whole life has always been about this, especially ever since my awakening. I don't want to talk about life before the awakening right now, because it is kind of just a vague blur. It's a smudge, because it wasn't real. And it was just me living out, living out the life that the demons built for me in my cloud of shit. So until my awakening, I lived in a cloud of shit too, and so I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I was very, very unhappy, and I was doing all kinds of stupid human tricks. But when I woke up in 2001, my life became all about the ascension, because as soon as I found it, for the first time, my life made sense. Just like knowing that I am the Messiah, my life finally makes sense. Knowing that I am the Creator God and I hold the world in my hands. The reason I say that I feel most comfortable here is because I don't look at the world through a lens of how do I make this individual happy. I just don't see it that way. I've never been happy with small change, social change, because anything, any kind of good that is ever put into the world isn't good enough unless it helps the entire world. Yeah, I'm very demanding that way. It has to help my entire world. It can't just help a few people over here, and it can't just help some while hurting others. No way. That is completely out of the question. I never do anything that does not help the entire world all at once. Every single part of my world is helped in every moment by what I do. And so I was never content with any kind of small change, because if it wasn't helping the whole world, it wasn't good enough. So yeah, Shan would be like, well, I just want to build houses for humanity. I'm like, well, that doesn't help the whole world. And she's like, well, it helps the people that need a house. Yes, it does. And I'm not saying that houses for humanity isn't a wonderful thing. Of course it's a wonderful thing. But it's not the answer. Just like the plans in the back of Russell's book, Revolution. Those aren't the answer. Those are some ideas. Some very, very simple human ideas about how to make a little tiny bit of this bad situation a little bit better. And I don't think that way. I think globally. And I act locally. Actually, I act globally. Obviously, I act globally and I think globally. But I do. I think globally. It has to benefit the entire world or it isn't good enough. And that's the thing. When you give your life to Christ, everything you do will benefit the whole world. Even if all you're doing is sitting and watching a movie, if Christ told you to watch that movie, then it's the best thing that you could be doing for all of humanity. And so that's what I want, and I don't understand anyone who wants anything else. I mean, obviously, how can I understand demon thoughts? I do understand. I understand perfectly what's going on. Demons are going on. Demons are doing your thinking for you. They project thoughts into your head about how to create a life. And if you don't know that you can think thoughts that aren't yours, then you think they're yours. And then, I mean, like I said, I think I have demon thoughts projected into my head too. I shared one of them, the demon thoughts about when I see a woman and I think she's fat and she needs to lose weight. It's not me, it's fucking demons. Well, here in Idaho, there are a lot of thought clouds about black people, racism, because Idaho's a white streak on the map. We haven't had any black people around here, and we're getting some. So the prejudice is coming out, and there are these terrible negative thoughts about black people that I don't encounter when I am in California, in Humboldt. These thoughts don't go through my head because they don't work there. They don't have purchase, because people are like, I don't think that. But you come here, and the demons can get away with that shit because there's people here that actually do think that way. Just like there are people that want to kill all the gays right here in Idaho. Absolutely. Armageddon is happening right here in Idaho. The Christ and the Antichrist. Antichrist both live here in Idaho. So you see both. And so those thoughts go through my head. And at first, when the thought goes through my head, my first response is to feel guilty. Oh, I thought something terrible about a black person. Oh, that's in there. Ooh, I'm nastier than I thought. And of course, being the Messiah, being perfect, I know that's not the case. You see, I know there's no hate in here. I know there's none of that shit in there. So I know that isn't mine. So then I immediately go, wait a minute. No, I don't feel guilty. I feel angry that the archons are putting shit in my head, and I'm letting myself think it's mine. And it's the same with, oh God, the misogyny in Idaho is so repulsively omnipresent that I find myself thinking sexist thoughts about women, sexist thoughts about myself that I'm not good enough. I can't do this because I'm a woman. Oh, God. And those are demon thoughts. And again, I didn't encounter those in Humboldt. They're just here in Idaho where people buy them. Because people are so fucking stupid around here, they don't question it. And they're perfectly willing to say, yes, women are stupid, women are less than, women are weak, women are emotionally weak, women are women. They're just women. You know, they can't do anything big and important and heroic. They're women. And then, yeah, blacks are, what are they around here? Well, oh, God. My mother was saying some racist things. I'm not going to go into them. And they were not cruel, just stupid. Fortunately. But the thing is that these thoughts are here. They're in the atmosphere, and they're in the land. There are racist and misogynist and homophobic thought forms in the land, just seeping up into our consciousness when we live here in Idaho and other places. You know, Oklahoma has all kinds of nasty, horrible, closed-minded shit floating around to get into your head and rule your life. So, these thought forms will create a life for you if you don't question them. They will create values for you, and then they will create actions for you based on those false values. Then you will just, oh, I could do this. Oh, I can go to the store and buy some, you know, when you're at the store, if you're just mindlessly, you know, everybody at the fucking store is looking at their phone or talking on their phone. Nobody's actually interacting with the people in the store, nor are they actually paying attention to what they're doing. They are, you know, shopping very trendy, and they get all the name brands and all this shit. That's all demon shit. It's all demon shit. Oh yeah, buy what's trendy. Use your coupons. You know, 9 out of 10 dentists recommend. You know, all this shit that makes you put all this garbage in your cart and take it home and poison yourself with it. And you don't question it. Everybody else does it. Everybody else has Lysol sitting on their counter, you know. Everybody else eats artificial colors and flavors and preservatives and artificial sweeteners all day long. So why not me? You know, this is the only gum sold in the grocery store, so I'm going to chew it. Oh, okay, well, it causes brain damage and destroys your immune system, but go ahead. Everybody else is doing it. So we live in this cloud of shit that makes us create a life that hurts us and hurts everyone around us. And then the archons just feed off that pain. They just suck it off of us. They just suck it off of us. In the movie Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus says the temple has been taken over by the spider and the lizard. The spider is the archon. The lizard is the Anunnaki. Psychically, this world is really horrific and disgusting and ugly when you look at the shadow beings, because it is as if the entire planet is infested with shadow spiders. Yeah. That's why Christ hates spiders. All Christs hate spiders. There may be some exceptions, like some what are they called? Bug studying scientists. I don't know what it's called. People who love insects and people who, you know, Christs are not nature spirits. No, that is not how we manifest. We are, if we're going to look like anything down here, we're going to look like aliens. Adam Lambert is a good example of that. And of course Russell Brand is too, you know, in all of his interviews he's always talking about how he feels like an extraterrestrial, and he feels like people treat him like an extraterrestrial. And he is an extraterrestrial. He does not live down here. He doesn't come down here just to play human. None of the Christs do. None of the goddesses do. None of the Blades do. None of us do. We're here to save the world. We come down to save the world. And we live lifetimes that are completely dedicated to saving the world. I've lived some human lifetimes as well as having lived the Jesus lifetime. Have I come as an avatar other times? I think I have. You know, Maitreya, the world teacher, you know, I don't have the time to just know everything there is to know about everything. As I've said in some other videos, if it doesn't serve the mission right now, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to know it. I don't want to explore it. Oh my God, no. I used to just, you know, explore things out of curiosity and just go, well, that's interesting. I'm going to chase that for a while. No, I don't want to know it if I don't have to know it because I'm constantly knowing new information, constantly knowing new things. The whole world triggers me with the thoughts of God. I talked about how I walk through life and I get triggered with thoughts. Well, they're not my thoughts. They're not things I knew. They're God's thoughts. And I will see an image or a symbol or a word or something will trigger me with God's thoughts. Talia will think through me, and she'll think something that is based on some kind of a trigger that I see in my environment, and then she'll just start putting thoughts into my head. Excuse me. She puts images into my head, and my clairvoyance is it's crystal clear now. It's when I'm talking to you like this, if she has something that she wants me to convey, she fills my head with just the perfect images so that I know exactly what she wants to say. And then when I open my mouth, she gives me the words. I am choosing them, but they come to me. And obviously, I don't sit around and make a bunch of mistakes that way. I don't, you know, go down blind alleys and try to explain something and get lost. I don't do that. She leads me through how to explain what she wants to convey. And as I'm speaking, the words just keep coming. And I just have to make myself an open channel for those words. I have to not be thinking my stupid human thoughts, which get completely in the way of the true thoughts coming down from a much higher frequency and coming down into a lower frequency. We're physical down here. Everything is made of energy, vibrating at different rates of speed. And when we vibrate at a lower rate of speed, we are physically visible. So we're dense down here, and we're vibrating at a lower rate of speed. And so thoughts have to come from a place where everything is vibrating at a much higher rate of speed, and then they have to be given to us in a way that crystallizes them, makes them more concrete, and allows us to bring them into the physical world where it's vibrating at a much lower frequency. So that's how I receive all of this information. And I don't want to be doing that unless I have to be doing that, you know? So I only get the things I need. And the rest of the time, I'm just trying to enjoy what is. And that is what I do. Other than receiving and teaching, I look for things to love. I look for things to bask in. I look for how the sun is reflecting off of the leaves in the yard. I look for the way the raindrops are condensing on my window. I look for squirrels fighting over nuts. I look for the cat, you know, batting toys in under my door. You know, I look for anything to appreciate about this world. And yeah, there's a lot that's getting the attention, which is not appreciable. She does let me fuck up like that sometimes, because this is what it's like to be a divine human. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be as perfect as I am. No one is, because you all have free will. But look at me. Even I am not. I'm not a fucking machine. I'm not a fucking android. I live the way humans live, not lifestyle-wise. I do what humans need to do to live in a world down here. I live in your world, you know. I grocery shop. I have bills now to pay, you know. I have to do my laundry. You know, I have to figure out how to get the stains out of my underwear. I have very human problems. um, because that's what we're doing down here, is living in this world. And so we're meant to do it with the guidance of our souls. So the disconnect is between us and our souls, because those are where our actual thoughts are. We have thoughts based on all the lifetimes that we've had, all the wisdom that we've accumulated. And those are our actual thoughts. And we're not able to access them if we're not questioning the cloud of shit that we walk around in. So we have to question the cloud of shit. And we have to weed out the thoughts that aren't ours and throw them away. And then we have to reach for loving thoughts. If the thought doesn't serve love, it's not yours. It's not yours. If it serves fear, if it serves hate, it's not yours. If it's all about lack, it's not yours. You know, if it's worried and helplessly angry, that's not yours. Those aren't your thoughts. So that's why the answer is love. Because if you choose a thought that serves love, it's going to come from a higher place. Love is a higher law. It is the way that you become movable by the hand of the Creator. Because the way that the Creator gives you the right way, your next step, is to give you the step that serves love. So if you always choose that, you're taking the right step. If you don't choose that, you're taking the wrong step. Russell's taking the wrong step because he isn't choosing to serve love. He's choosing to express his anger and just to hate on the things that he doesn't like. And he's not choosing love, so he isn't walking down the right path. What does choosing love look like in his life? Who knows? Who knows what that's going to look like? I mean, for all I know, he could have a really miraculous epiphany and have some kind of a weird sighting that says something like, check your Twitter messages. And he'd be like, what the fuck do you mean, check my Twitter messages? But if he's in the open place, he'll be like, oh, fuck, I guess I better check my Twitter messages. Or maybe he'll meet somebody that you know, goes all guru-y on him and goes, I sense that perhaps Twitter is the answer to your problem. I mean, who knows how this is going to happen? I have no idea. How he'll be actually led to my work, whether it will be to my feed or whether it will be to his messages. Obviously, I don't tweet everything to him. I'm not living in his feed the way I did the first 2 or 3 months on the mission, or not on the mission. The first year of the mission was in Humboldt. The quest to retrieve the goddess and retrieve my crew, to redeem my crew. That quest began when I moved here to Idaho in October of 2015, and then I was put on Russell Brand in November. I was put on Shannon in October and Russell Brand in November. And at first I lived in his Twitter feed. I just direct tweeted him. I stayed on his Twitter page, and everything I tweeted, I clicked on his tweet me hard instead of clicking on my own tweet thing, and I just tweeted him. So he's got 2 or 3 months worth of me living in his Twitter box, his whatever the fuck, messages. And then, you know, Talia had me move into my own feed once I had collected enough followers and whatever. Who the fuck even knows why? She just did, is the point. So I don't live in his feed anymore, but I do tweet him things from time to time, and maybe he'll find one of those things and it will lead him to my feed, and maybe he'll just come to my feed. I don't know. I have no fucking clue how Talia's going to work that. Obviously, that isn't my part to play. My part to play is to wake up every morning and get on Twitter and testify to who your God really is and who your Christ really is. You know, Russell said it in Andy's film, Brand: A Second Coming. All these abstract concepts, we can't ever understand God, we can't ever understand Christ and what it really is because it doesn't exist in this bandwidth. Yeah, well, it does now. Here I am, in this bandwidth, showing you exactly who your God is, showing you exactly who your Christ is, and showing you exactly how you can have the absolute best time down here on Earth. Because as a soul, I wrote Earth. As a soul, I wrote these human bodies and this world that works this way, rather than the world on Venus, for example, which has a completely different idea being played out on that planet. Well, Earth has this idea being played out on this planet, And as a soul, I created this planet, and I created the people on it, and I created your whole world. Yeah, I also created the rock. That's not what I'm trying to save. No. I'm trying to save. There's no trying. Do or do not. There is no try. I'm saving the world. Jesus saves. What that means is, as an avatar, we fix. That's all we do. What's broken, we fix it. What's fucked, we unfuck it. Jesus unfucks things. Okay? Satina unfucks things. I'm unfucking up the world that you have fucked up. And I know how to do it. I know how to fix everything. And again, it's truly effortless. It's not only easy for me to figure out how to fix things. It's effortless. I look at something and it just occurs to me, oh, what we need to do instead is this. And it's just there. And it's just simple. And that's my whole life now, is fixing everything that's been fucked up. And that's where I get my joy. I love my work. I love my work. I don't love being crucified for it. I don't love being completely, utterly alone. And I hate the fact that, well, duh. I mean, there's only one me. No one's really ever going to understand what it's like to be in here because you've never been in here. And so, I have to get used to the fact that no one's ever going to really understand what I'm going through. You're going to wake up to your own divinity, and you're going to have your own realizations of who you are as a soul, and of your own holiness, and your own power, and your own reach in the universe, and all of that. And you're gonna, you're going to encounter things about yourself you're gonna have a hard time believing too. I mean, Shannon, you're Mary Magdalene. That's pretty hard to believe, isn't it? Yeah, I get that. But I have to be the creator God of this world, and that's never going to stop. That's what I am. That's who I am, and that's never going to go away. And there isn't another one. My aspects are also the creator God of this world, but they have not acted as the avatar. They have come down as human, and they have worked for the liberation of this planet in all of their lifetimes as well. But they've not been the avatar, and so they have free will. No one's ever done this. No one's ever walked without free will except for Jesus. And if I have come as the avatar in other ages, that's it. And it's something I have to do alone. This is my job. And so, just like I was saying in the other videos, and especially the November 4th one, I have to detach from all outcomes, including saving the world. I have to just get up every morning and say, how may I serve? And do what occurs to me to do. And I have an extremely limited life that I've been locked into by the demons who have taken everything else away from me, so that all I have is this work. And it's like I'm chained to my desk, and I have to write the Bible. And I can find my emotional nourishment through the other things that are available on the internet. And it's very bizarre. to, I mean, my life is the internet, and I exist. I mean, I guess it's not that unusual for a deity to exist um, in the non-physical world, and that's what the internet is. It's a somewhat physical world, but it is largely a non-physical world. I mean, when Shannon and I met, we met online without seeing each other. I fell in love with her name. And we didn't have to encounter each other physically. Our energy encountered, my energy encountered hers, and, you know, it was instantly fascinated and attracted to that energy. And so we met as consciousness, and the love was instantaneous and very real. So we don't need the physical world in order to interact and to create reality. We're not here to create reality with our hands. We're not here to build structures with our hands. We're here to build structures with our minds that we then enjoy with our bodies. So it happens here first. We create it here first. So for a year, I've written the new earth. And no, it hasn't manifested into form yet. That's not how God's work. We manifest here first, and then we draw it to us by having faith and by taking each step in love. So, and I didn't think of this. That's the thing too, is we don't manifest what we want, because we're stupid little humans and the things we want are stupid. What we do is we become open channels so that our souls can say, this is what you're meant for. This is the fucking awesome life you're meant for. And then we're like, oh my God, that life is amazing. So then we use our manifestation skills to create that life for ourselves. And I spend hours on end playing different music and videos which pray for me and manifest my reality for me. That's how I pray. I don't sit around praying like this all the time. When I pray like this, the time I pray like this is usually when I'm in some kind of crisis and I need to get centered in myself and I need to just be like giving it up. I mean, that's really the biggest kind of prayer I do besides using music to pray is when I just give it up and I just get on my knees and I'm like, oh my God, please take this. Please just take this. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. How can I feel better? That's my biggest prayer. That's about the only thing I ask for. How can I feel better? How may I serve, and how can I feel better while doing it? That's what I ask for. Once in a while I get a craving for chicken and I'll be like, hey, send me some chicken. And sometimes I get it, and sometimes I don't. But I don't ask for stuff, you know, I don't ask for a life. I don't ask for any of that because I don't know what life I need to be living. So I accept the life that I'm given, and then I ask how to feel good within it. That's what I do. That's what I ask for. And I'm always led to things to make me feel better. That's the refuge that Talia will give you, is she will always lead you to things to make you feel better about whatever your situation is. So you choose love, and then you ask Talia, how can I feel better in this situation while I'm serving love? Then she leads you to what you need. And the rest of the time, when I'm praying for my outcomes, I'm using music. Talia leads me to the videos that will pray for me. And it was like when the demons took everything and I was left with those 3 tabs, I prayed with those 3 tabs. I played higher for hours, over and over and over again, because it was my prayer. Every word of that song and every sound in that song. It's not just the lyrics. I want to make that clear. It's the sound, also the music. You know, everything about that song is pure magic. And so that's how I pray. God, Talia, will send me the video that puts the exact energy of my manifestation out into the world, and then I play it over and over and over again. And it's not arduous to play it over and over again. I want to play it over and over again. Every time I do it, it's because I want to. I want to hear that song again and again and again and again and again and again. I think Adam Lambert's music I've probably used more than any, because again, everything he does is designed to bring the God and the goddess back together. So I have used his videos for just fucking hours on end. You'll see when you read the Book of Love, and when you read the Book of Love, Insight, the stuff that you haven't seen, the stuff that was written in journal form, because when I first started writing to Shannon, what I did was I sat down and I just started writing a journal and journaling my every moment, but I was doing it not over Twitter. I was doing it in a journal, and so that's how it begins. And I did that for a month or so, and then it was like, go get Russell, and it was like, how do I get a hold of Russell? Well, the only way to get a hold of Russell was tweet me hard. And I couldn't even find an email address for him at the time, and so I had to tweet him, and that's how it began. So I tweeted him, and that's when I started tweeting my life rather than journaling my life. And I was still journaling it, and I was also emailing Shannon. So the Book of Love is made of 3 different things. It's made of the journal, and it's made of over 1,000 emails I sent to Shannon, and then it's made of just fucking almost 100,000 tweets. So, that's my life. And I must find fulfillment within that life. And the actual activities of that life, I enjoy. I love teaching. And I enjoy being on the internet. I enjoy doing internet research. Of course, music, again, is my prayer. Music is my church. Absolutely. And, not just gospel music, rock music. The Christ started all throughout every genre. I prefer hard rock. That's my favorite type of music, is hard rock. I want hard metal guitars, not like thrashing metal that makes your brain bleed, but I like it hard. I like it very manly. That's just what I love. That's just what gets me off. And so that's my music, and that's my church. It absolutely is. That's where I pray. It's where I am lifted. It's where I am transported into a whole nother world. And I explained how that was also how Shannon and I survived our time in hell when we were completely beset by the demons and being torn apart. We survived by listening to music. And so, of course, the demons have now made all of those songs daggers to my heart, and punches to my gut, and kicks to my kidneys. And so, that's... But, so they took away my church to a certain extent, but Talia gave it back to a certain extent. Because when I lost... because that's what was going on. At first, I was listening to all Twin Flame music. I'd never heard this gospel music. My Indigos singing this stuff, so I was listening to Twin Flame music, and it became too painful, and I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand anything. And then Talia brought me to gospel music. That's how I discovered gospel music, and I discovered it in March when I needed to learn all about Jesus. And that's where I learned about Jesus, was from my kids singing the gospel music. They're singing who Jesus really is, and they're singing Jesus' real teachings, and that's the only place to get pure Christ. So that's where Talia began, teaching me about Jesus, was, giving me the radio and having me find KTSY, the first station that I found. And so that's how she gave me back music, and made music my church again. So, alright, do I want to talk about anything else? Maybe talk a little bit to you, Shannon. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're feeling. Some of the songs suggest that you've opened your eyes and you're awake and you're over there and you're needing me rather than rejecting me. And I know that if I let you into my Satina heart and then you do something to hurt the world, the demons will make sure it hurts me. So even if I'm not speaking to you, even if I don't know what you're doing, even if nothing, even if there's absolutely no contact between us, if I do let you into my heart and I begin to trust you again and I begin to relate to you again, because I love you, of course that never ends, but letting you into my life, letting you into my heart is different. And if I do that and then you do something to hurt the world and you do things unconsciously, the demons will make sure that hurts me somehow. And they're fucking brilliant, so they'll figure it out. So I'm afraid. I'm afraid to let you in again. Even though I do believe that, we could start our reunion even before Russell steps up, even before we begin writing Legacy, we can, of course, start focusing back in on Mulder and Krychek and our relationship and not getting to know one another again because we're different. Getting to know one another. But not through getting to know one another because you're not relating to me at all. You're getting to know me, and then we will focus on Mulder and Krychek, and it will be more of a reminder of who we are. That's what it will be. It will be a reminder of who we are. And then we will both have to explore the us's that we left in those stories and see what's left of that us in us. If that makes sense. What we want to keep and what we want to throw away. What's real and what's not. And sorry, my nose is itching. We have to decide what is us and what isn't. Is that still me? Is that something I want back in my life now? Do I still feel that that's authentic to me? It's not just about the story. It's not just about enjoying MK. It's about who we are. We left our souls in those stories, and we can go back and go, oh, that's me. That is me, and that's not me, and that is me, and that's not me. And we can find ourselves there as a couple. Yeah, because I know I have found myself, obviously, but I don't know who I am in relation to you anymore. In a way, we are strangers, but we're strangers with history. History of other lifetimes, and history that we've written, and history that we experienced, which of course made us who we are in this lifetime. We can't just pretend that didn't happen. That's not what I'm suggesting. But we're new. We're born again. And this me needs to get to know that you. And the best way to do it is through the MK. Because some things never change. Our souls and what we are about and our dynamic never changes. And so we've preserved that in our stories, and we can go there and find us again. So, yeah. A little different than the video I made for you a year ago. Almost exactly a year ago. When I was so innocent and naive and excited at the prospect of getting you back, because at that point I was just being told that I hadn't lost you forever, because before that I thought I'd lost you forever. So the first thing that happened was Talia said, I'm bringing you back together. And so I was flying on that. I had no idea what I was about to be put through. So I guess that's it. So I sit here and I live my extremely limited life, and I wait for Talia to bring me what she's going to bring me. And I find my peace and my joy within the extremely limited circumstances that I have been provided with in order to do my work. That's what I do. So I guess I'll see you around.